Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly update. This is week number 10, and it is time to pivot. I've gone through 10 weeks now of testing to try to see if our Resilience Strategies channel was going to be the solution to the content that we wanted to create on this channel. What I can tell you by looking at the data is that people are much more interested in my Ironman journey, how to become an Ironman, tips and tactics and strategies for absolute beginners, because I am not an elite Ironman coach, but I've got 15 years of experience, 3 full Ironmans under my belt, about 15 halves. I've signed up for another half Ironman this summer at 58, up in Ironman Muskoka. And it just has become very clear as I'm going through, and I'm doing Sean Cannell's Think Media's 1 week challenge right now to get from 0 to 1,000 subscribers. And something that's really struck me this week in the first couple of sessions is I thought I had my target audience dialed in. Resilience Strategies for Dads was all about communicating as a father to other dads out there how to be more resilient in their day-to-day life so they can enjoy more health and happiness in life. What I'm starting to see is that people are more interested in not advice about being resilient. That will be part of our strategy on our channel, giving those sort of tips and advice. But people are actually searching for triathlon motivation, triathlon planning, nutrition when I'm starting a triathlon. And what's even more interesting is that if I look at the metrics for that niche channel, I can see that the search volume on a day-to-day basis, 18,000 people are searching the word triathlon every day. 12,000 people are searching the term motivation, and 3,000 are searching the term Ironman. They all have a high cost per click view, which means that one day when I monetize the channel, when I get past 1,000 subscribers, this will be a profitable niche for me to be in, because people who tend to do triathlons tend to have extra disposable income to spend because it is not a cheap sport. And so what I've learned over my career as a triathlete over the last, say, 18 years is that when I go out and represent Triathlon Ontario, when I go out and I speak to other triathletes, there is a very small percentage who actually want to place on the podium and be pros. 80%, it's always the 80-20 rule. 80% of people who want to get involved in triathlon are doing it for the first time. And they're not sure if it's going to be a sustainable thing that they're going to continue to do. And so there's a lot of cost involved. There's a lot of questions involved. There's a lot of what community should I join? And I just think based on all of the races that I've done, my involvement with Triathlon Ontario as their lead age group ambassador, my role as the festival director for the Toronto Triathlon Festival, my role as, again, lead age group ambassador for Triathlon Ontario, but also helping the folks over at Triathlon Ontario put on their events. I'm always talking to people who are getting involved in the sport at the very ground level. And the great thing about this is that beginners in triathlon are typically men and women, typically between the ages of 35 and 55 years old. My original target audience, maybe not, when I say women, maybe not my target audience because I'm not a woman. I don't have that perspective. But definitely everybody can glean from the insights that I'm going to share. And I did some research this week, and I came up with using some research tools that I learned from the 1K challenge through Think Media. They shared a research tool I had no idea existed, and it has given me already 50 questions, 50 simple questions that I could answer for my customers or my ideal viewers on this channel to bring value with absolutely every video I put out. And they don't have to be 20-minute videos. They could be 2-minute videos. They could be 5-minute videos. They could be 10-minute videos. The point is, where I think I can bring value and start to really see subscriptions drive through the roof is by answering simple questions. When I watch other triathletes, and you might say, hey, Dave, there's all kinds of people with triathlon motivation videos out there in the market. True, there are other YouTubers who have created successful channels around helping coaching triathletes and showing them how to do things at an elite level. I would argue that that's a that's the tip of the sword. You know, the 20%, the 80% who are just trying to figure this thing out and understand it, they may end up being the top 20 eventually. And at that point, they'll go find a coach and they'll find the seconds that are out there to shave off their time to become the fastest person they want to be. But for me, this channel is really about, it's always been about helping, dads. And in this case, I want to help those men and women who are between the ages of, say, 30 and 55 years old, who want to embrace the sport of triathlon. I'm going to teach them how to become self-motivated so they can stick to their planning. I'm going to teach them everything I know about building a periodized plan to get to the race day safely, and they get through the race safely with a smile on your face. I'm going to teach them everything I know based on my experience as someone who was a beginner, who is now a seasoned, I don't want to say a seasoned veteran, but maybe that's the right word to use. I've got a lot of miles under my belt doing this thing, and a lot of experiences, behind the scene experiences that I can bring to the party. So the more I think about it, maybe it was time to pivot. I will always talk about resilience as a part of who I am and what I believe you have to be. You have to be resilient to be a triathlete. It's just part of the game plan, but that's part of the mental side. There's a lot of things that I can teach people about the equipment side or just the simple questions. I did a video the other day and I talked about Coca-Cola, and I talked about being in a room at a conference for triathlon where I was looking around the room and I knew the answer to the question that it was nutrition. The breakout room was about nutrition. I knew the answer to the question about why is Coca-Cola on the race course. But I'll guarantee you that everybody sitting around me, 80% of the people there would have been shocked to hear that Coca-Cola is even on a race course. So I framed the question to the person delivering the talk. I said, why is there Coca-Cola on the race course when I've been told that's the worst thing I could possibly drink in my life? And how does that benefit me as a triathlete? And that person who was giving the talk stood back for a second and thought, well, that's kind of a simple question. Why do I need to answer that? And then she realized that most of the people in the room were probably beginners and didn't know that was a thing. And they were probably under the assumption that Coca-Cola is a bad thing. Well, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever your choice is probably one of the most effective and efficient sport drinks for endurance athletes. Once you've gone beyond an hour of training, and you're going to continue to go, because it immediately gets burned up in the body as fuel, right? It goes through your stomach wall very quickly, gets into your bloodstream, and becomes a fuel source for your body that you can quickly burn. So you're not burning lean muscle mass, which is what your body would naturally want to burn before fat, because of the elevated state of exertion you're putting your body through. That's why we have things like gels. Where's my gel? I have a gel here on my desk. Goo. Hey, maybe Goo will sponsor me one day. We'll talk about Goo gels and why this little sugar packet is on every race course. This is the fuel that we use as athletes. So, I could go on and on and on, but suffice to say, where are we this week? Well, I'm at 197 subscribers. We've done very well. By every metric, we've done very, very well in growing my channel over the last 10 weeks from 36 subscribers, and I think those were primarily friends and family, to almost 200 subscribers of people who discovered our channel. Something that I've learned over the last, say, 2 weeks, and there's a lot of YouTubers talking about this right now who are helping people develop their channels. They're saying, don't share your channel with your friends and family because it messes up the algorithm. And that's absolutely true. If my mother is the person who's watching this channel, liking the videos, then YouTube is going to try to find more people like my mother to watch the channel. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people to discover my channel because they're interested in the topic of becoming a beginner triathlete and growing through that process, how to become more resilient as a human being because you're going through that process, and then how you can apply, the strategies, the tips, the tricks that I've learned so that you can have a better experience in the sport. Sean Cannell, who does the 1K channel, 1K challenge, and the Think Media channel, he really got me to focus on this one question, and that was, what would you do if you didn't make a nickel off of YouTube ever? What would you gladly and willingly talk about to exhaustion and nauseum, for the rest of your life? And for me, it would be triathlon. I'm one of those guys who loves the strategy and the process much more than I enjoy race day. Race day is just a cherry on the cake. I love the process. Creating a YouTube channel is a process, and trying to figure out the process and saying, okay, it's time to pick up stakes and make a pivot. So this is the pivot moment where I'm rebranding the channel from Resilient Strategies for Dads to Triathlon for Beginners. Because what I know is that I can get really granular, answer a lot of specific questions. I literally probably have now over 100 questions written down from some of these new resources that Sean shared with me. It's just blowing my mind how many options I have. And this will allow me to batch record every week 5 or 7 new videos for the week and put out a new video every day answering a single question. And in a year's time, like I'm already at almost 200 videos posted in the last 10 weeks. And that includes both long form and short form videos. That's great, but there wasn't a lot of strategy behind it. A lot of that was trying to understand how to have better technique and form and content structure so that people would stick around. I've still got to learn how to do that, but what I have learned is the ASQ method, answer specific questions. I sat down and I looked at the category of motivation. Motivation is so all over the place, wishy-washy. But triathlon, ask me what a TT bike is. Ask me why you shouldn't clip in for the first 2 weeks of riding your TT bike. Ask me how to make your water reservoir or your fuel reservoir fit aerodynamically in between your TT handlebars. Ask me what the difference and why the reason is that your seat post on a TT bike is different from the seat post on a regular road bike, and why most triathletes prefer to use a TT bike versus a road bike. The list goes on and on and on and on of simple questions that need answers. The problem is most beginner triathletes are always afraid to ask the question. So if I think back to my experience of being sent out to marathons by Triathlon Ontario to go talk to runners to try to convince them into becoming a triathlete, one of the biggest questions they always had or objections was, oh, I'd be a triathlete, but boy, I hate the idea of swimming. Well, let me tell you, I went from a zero swimmer to, you know what? I'm a decent swimmer now. Am I the best? Nope. Am I going to spend a lot of time working on it? Nope. There's no reason to. I enjoy it. I do it once a week. I love it. But even if I went 5 days a week, the incremental difference in speed that I'm going to make up has very little bearing on how I'm going to finish at the end of the day at the race. And it's going to cause me a lot of grief in my training because it's the one thing that I've got to drive to do. Whether I'm driving 15 minutes to go to the university to use their pool on their time, or I'm driving 20 minutes to go down to the Flatwater Center in Welland, where I can go do open water swimming anytime there's no ice on the water, unsupervised. Like there's options for me, but that consumes a lot of time. I love running and biking because I literally go out my front door and off I go, right? So, there's lots of things that I can talk about that are going to help put things into perspective for new triathletes. And the good news is, I think that if I do a good job of doing this, word of mouth is really going to help elevate my presence in the marketplace as not necessarily a coach, but maybe the friend that you can rely on that's going to give you the straight goods, that's going to point you in the right direction, that's going to answer the simple questions that you had. So anyway, that's where we're making our pivot to this week. I've already, if you've been on my channel, you've seen I've already made some changes. I've got to change up the playlists, create just new titles for the playlists, and organize some of the videos that were more resilience oriented into another sort of generic playlist. Because I think when people come to my channel, I really want them to get the sense that this is a place for triathletes. That's what I love to do. I will continue to do this until I can't anymore. And if you're looking at my ratty old sweatshirt, I just want you to know that when I got this sweatshirt back in 2010, so this sweatshirt is probably now, well, it's 13, 14 years old. It was distressed when I got it. I didn't do this to it in my wash. It was already distressed when I got it. It's just gotten a little more distressed over time, but it is honestly one of my favorite t-shirts because it represents my brand. My brand is I'm an Ironman. That's who I am. I always will be so long as I continue to swim, bike, and run. And I see no reason to quit doing that. So if that excites you and you want to be part of this journey, and maybe you've never, thought about doing multi-sport before, maybe this is something that you might want to try. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. If you've got a question for me, leave it in the comments. This is all really about just trying to find my niche, my targeted niche on YouTube. And I'm never going to be, look at this face, I'm never going to be the sexy guy or girl on TV or on YouTube pumping out hard videos and having a film crew running beside me, training my taping. When I'm doing my training, I'm going to be having my phone, like I say, my Ironman, so I know everybody knows what I am silently when I put my phone down on the table. This is how I record, with my phone, or right now I'm using my laptop. I don't have a film crew chasing after me. So I can't compete with really, really high editing skills. What I can compete with is experience and knowledge. And, I was watching a video today of one of my favorite Ironman YouTubers. I've got two of them, two female YouTubers from England. One is Team Charles Barkley, Lucy Charles Barkley, now world champion at the Ironman. And the other is Team Nutty Fitness, who is also a younger triathlete. But both of these women are, let's call it what it is, they're not bad-looking women. They get lots of views. They're not foolish people. That it's, shoot enough video of yourself, you're going to get an audience. And I hate to say it, but that's marketing 101, sex sells. I don't have that. Nobody wants to see me trucking around in my skivvies that much. But I do promise that when I do put a video out, my promise to you is I will do it enthusiastically. I will do it hopefully with a story that resonates, and hopefully in an unbiased way that you can feel like you trust me, you know me, and you like me enough to recommend you to your friends. So that's our weekly update. I look forward to the next video next week, where we're going to hopefully start to see maybe more of an uptick in our video viewership, and our number of subscribers. I have changed my SEO description for my videos to try to make it more search related for people who are beginner triathletes. So we'll see if that helps to get our videos suggested out onto the algorithm. Something else we're testing. But yeah, that's where we're at today. So where are we at time-wise? 1902, under 20 minutes. We'll call it a day. See you next week in next week's video, and check out all my new videos coming out, because there's going to be a lot of questions answered about triathlon. Thanks, everybody. See you in the next video.